Hey, everybody. Kevin with barbecuebeat.com. And as promised, I have with me Mr. Brett Galloway. You guys know who this man is. He's one of the stalwarts of the Steak Cook-Off Association. He and Ken have been doing such a great job, and they have built quite the organization. I need not speak for it. It speaks for itself. And to that end, I want to make sure that we bring him right on right away, fill us in on all the cool and exciting things that have been happening in the world of the Steak Cook-Off Association. So, Brett, man, thanks so much for hanging out. I really appreciate you spending time, and I'm just going to be quiet and let you sort of go down the litany of awesomeness that's been happening in the world of the SCA.
Well, thanks, Ben. I appreciate having us on the show. We're excited to be here as always, and it's been a whirlwind already. And are we January still? Wow.
Yeah.
I think we're still January. You know, our points leader right now was, I believe they're at the same point they were last year at the beginning of May. So there's been that many more events. Man, I hate to see what the champion is this year, how many points. It's going to be up there, but guys are having a great time. There's new states jumping on board, new countries jumping on board, and just couldn't have expected it, but we're really happy that it came along the way it has.
Yeah, the last I talked to you, I think you guys were heading out to Amsterdam. Is that right?
Yeah, we went back to Amsterdam, trained some reps, did a judge class, and man, it was a great meeting. Harry Havingar, he's our partner in Amsterdam or in Europe. He helps run all of Europe for us, and if you know Harry, he's a great guy. But had some great meetings. It was very, I guess we got a lot of things laid out for this year. We've got some new things in Europe we're not doing here in America, but we've actually added whole hog in Europe as an ancillary category, and we have 6 or 7 events in Europe that are doing whole hog now. Harry's got a passion for barbecue. Wow. So he's got a process. He's already done it, and we've got him. He's running those. We will not do this in America. It's only in Europe, but first one's coming up pretty soon here. I think it'll be really interesting.
How many people stateside have you talked to who have considered maybe heading over there just to be part of that kind of concept?
There are guys going over for it now. It's needed. First couple of years, it was a lot of people here, but I see Michael McDermott went over there and Jim Elster and those guys. They competed in. I believe they went to The Hague, if I remember right.
I think that's right.
That's a neat event. I was there the year before, and they run a great event over there. But if you can do barbecue, do a steak cook-off, all in the same place, and experience a place like the Netherlands, why not?
Yeah, maybe even jump on with a team that's doing the whole hog side of things, just to further those connections, make those friendships, even sort of more solid between, the sort of folks, from one side of the pond, if you will, to the other. And how awesome is it just to see the level to which the SCA is taking off in Europe? I mean, I didn't have any doubts, and I know you guys have gone past Europe, per se. Like, I believe you're in, Australia, and I know you guys have made trips out to Japan and so on and so forth. But, we've all seen what's going on with like the KCBS in the competition barbecue world in Europe, and how that kind of caught fire. I anticipate over the course of this year that we will look back and say, damn, like just what's going on with those folks over there, because it's a whole nother deal. And truthfully, sort of hot and fast grilling is really more in tune with what I know Northern Italy is long been all about, and in other regions, absolutely, it's been more ingrained in their kind of cultural makeup to an extent.
The biggest market there right now is Germany. Germany's taking off. They're almost where America was 7 years ago with barbecue. It was just, remember, everything just really started exploding, and Europe's that way now with barbecue. They're starting to be that way with steak. I think we're waiting for paperwork on a 6-event series in Germany alone. So we're really excited to get that going. If I remember right, we have 26 or so in Europe at the moment. Australia's going big. It's doubled this year. I want to say there's 17 at the moment in Australia, and those guys, man, they'll grill anything over there. we do ancillary categories, and this week they did Jaffies, which is, I think it's an Australian meat pocket, was a side category. So, man, they're passionate. They're the same boat though. You know, Europe, Australia, the guys over in Japan as well. So it's really catching on over there, and they're fired up. We love it.
Awesome. While we're talking here, a couple of questions. Well, one question came in from Eddie Hanks. He wanted to know, based on what you're seeing over in Europe, what kind of grills are you seeing people utilizing over there in steak cook-offs?
In Europe, you see a lot of Weber's. Weber's probably the most prominent grill over there. So there's a ton of them. You're seeing guys that have competed in SCA, came over to the championship. Some of those guys are taking PKs over there now. Okay. You'll see the Go Anywheres are kind of popular over there, the little Weber squares.
Yeah.
So there's guys over there that are reverse searing. So they're smoking a steak and then hot and fast on it. So they've got different variety. But,
yeah.
You know, if you can cook on anything, and we're any fire or heat source. So if you can beat a bunch of guys in Europe on a George Foreman, God bless you.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, and just real quick, as an aside, fuel sources, coconut-based charcoal is huge over there. I mean, way more than you would ever imagine, maybe ever being here, at least to this point.
Yeah. Oh, you know, actually our point series in Europe is sponsored by Greek Fire Charcoal. So it is a hot burning charcoal. It burns fast and hot. So it's great for a quick 6-minute, 8-minute steak.
Yeah. Awesome. So, man, I know you guys have had some exciting things happening here stateside recently. I mean, most recently the event at the Shed. I mean, that thing just seemed like it blew up in all the best possible ways. Talk us through that event a little bit, kind of what it entailed, you know, start to finish, from when you guys landed there in New Orleans, and kind of how everything kind of rolled out.
Well, if you know Brad from the Shed, Brad has a million ideas, but Brad can implement those ideas. And this was an awesome event. I wasn't originally going to the event, and then we just watched it grow and grow, and I said, I can't miss it. So I added on to the little trip there, and Ken flew in. He ran an event in Washington at the outdoor show there, 3 days. And he landed at the airport at about 6 o'clock, I think, 6 a.m. We left about 6:20 for New Orleans on Saturday morning. So we landed in New Orleans. I can tell you it's a 4-drink drive over to Ocean Springs. I don't know how far that is, but I tell you it's about 4 drinks. And so we made it to Ocean Springs, had a lot of coffee, made it there just after Cook's meeting. They'd actually just turned in Bloody Marys. And man, our Bloody Marys, teams will turn in 1 cup that's just liquid. The other cup's fully garnished. And I don't know if you saw the pictures, but some of these things look like cake floats. They look like mums, or I don't know what to describe, but they were huge.
My buddy Brian Coleman from down here in Florida had something. I think it was, I want to say maybe spiny. It looked like an entire spiny lobster, like hanging off the side of his Bloody Mary cup. That thing looked amazing.
They were great. There was about 50 teams that competed in Bloody Marys, and once they were done judging, they sat them out. People walked by all day looking at them and picking on them, and some had prosciutto on it. There was crab legs, there was crab claws. I mean, the whole crab. It was nuts.
Yeah, I think I did see one. It looked like a little mini version of a virgin. Virgin and Bloody Marys, those things do not go together.
No, not so much.
But a version of a Dungeness crab, like a small one, you know,
small,
like fully cooked bread looking at. It's awesome, amazing. So, basic format. Roughly, how many teams were there?
It was around 95 teams. I want to say 95 paid. We had 92 teams actually in attendance. So, you know, started the day with Bloody Mary turn in. Then we had turkey breast turn in, sponsored by the Turkey Federation. And these things were monsters. Like, they could have been 3 or 4 pound turkey breasts.
Oh, wow.
Each. And so the teams cooked those in, and our rules are wide open on the turkey. It was anything with turkey. And so I think the winner was a rolled turkey roll on top of a jalapeno raspberry glaze on the bottom of the box. And it was stuffed. I'm not sure what all was in it, but it looked amazing. I got to see a picture of it when the person that won posted it.
Awesome.
So that was a great category. We did, and then we had 2 steak turn-ins that day as well. So It was a double event. the concept was we were going to do 2 events, and then at the end we would announce the winners because we're double blind judging, have no idea who wins. Once we announce them, we will take those 2 people, and they went into a kitchen right there in the shed. And the shed's a different place. If you haven't been there, it's very unique. It's got gravel on the ground. There's a grandstand on one side. So we put the teams right there beside the stage. We actually call first place before the other awards. So we could get those 2 winners. They went head to head. They had 1 hour to have a throwdown. And they competed for an extra $1,500 that day. So they both got paid from their, for winning their double steak rounds and the final round. And so in the meantime, Mama Shed got on stage. The mayor, Ken, was up there. Brad was up there in a zoot suit. Everybody was up there. I was up there for a little bit and had to run and pick up some stuff out of the car. But man, while they did that, the shed proceeded to give away about $10,000 in grills and knives and all sorts of stuff.
Wow.
It was amazing.
There was Rick Downs mentioned there's a kids cook-off as well, right?
Yeah, there's kids cook-off as well. The kids, they got the kid. Actually, that was just before the turkey, I believe. I've stayed out in the cook area. Other than the Bloody Mary, when I went in just to say hi to everyone, I stayed out there, took pictures, and just talked to everybody. And it was really neat. People enjoy the environment. The shed is just unique. It's one of a kind.
Yeah. Again, everything I've seen posted about it, everybody I've talked to who had been there just said, and it is, again, right up here, Brian Coleman, the shed was epic. And Brian's done some stuff. He's been around. Yeah. He's gotten some shenanigans. I know the guy. Yeah. And so if he's saying this about that event, it was something for sure. What else is going on, man? I mean, announcement wise, you got anything you can share with us about some of the things and directions that the FDA is heading?
Well, one of the things we got to announce at the shed, or we did from the stage there, is Ace Hardware is now the official retailer of the Steak Cook-Off Association. So you'll see soon on our website, if you're going in town, you can go to Ace. If you need a PK grill, if you need to pick up charcoal, B&B charcoal, they have it at Ace Hardware. They're in every small town America, and our cook-offs are in small town America. So I feel like that's going to be a great fit with Ace Hardware. So it's called the Ace Hardware Points Chase. We just released the first one today.
I saw that.
Of the series.
Yeah.
So that'll be year-long, culminating at the championship, and we'll have some great prizes for everybody there at the championship. And still haven't figured out what we're going to do. This year we gave away a trip to the Bahamas for the winner. So that's coming up in a couple weeks. Looking forward to that. And the winner of our points champion last year, Chuck Edwards, him and his fiance are going to the Bahamas.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think among the SCA faithful, you wowed some people. I think people who were on the outside still kind of maybe looking in where it comes to the SCA, I think you turned some heads in a very serious way with everything that was going on with this past World Championship event. Would you agree with that?
Well, I think the championship's more of a celebration for the teams than anything.
Sure.
But just the videos that were shared out there by guys and all the people, we had 25 international teams there.
Yeah.
So those guys the biggest cheerleaders, whatever you want to say, but they're the ones out there kind of driving the bus on that. And, I feel we had a great championship. We had a welcome party Thursday for international teams. Friday was the big party where we had dinner and had a concert and everything. And we did our year-end awards. And Saturday, Sunday, we had 187. No one's going to help me here. All right. We had 187 teams, which set the record for the largest steak cook-off in the world on Sunday. So 4-day event, planning the same for this year, just kind of, we're just into the season now, but it's already starting to steamroll.
Yeah. One of the things that you mentioned, and I don't think can be overstated, is the appreciation that you've developed among the SCA folks as far as just how you guys do look back to making sure the teams feel well taken care of. I mean, the judges do a good job and they're necessary. And I hope I'm not messing up the vibe here, but it really is about the teams, and they really feel appreciated. They come out, they do their thing, they enjoy each other, but I think every step of the way, they definitely feel like, they matter. They're not just sort of this ancillary part of the puzzle that keeps SCA going. They're an integral part of the puzzle.
Absolutely. We started as a cook team before we started SCA. We cooked every event in the country at some point, every state cook off, and there just wasn't enough of them. But so we understand what it's like to be the cooker, and there was events you'd go to and nobody said hello to you. So, when you're at an SCA event, the rep should come around, say hi to you, or at least shake your hand when you're up there and registering. And we feel that's a big part of it. And Ken and I are old restaurant guys, so it's just kind of second nature. And now we're lucky we've got 52 people around the world that run events for us or with us. And so, we're hoping to rub that culture off on them. And so far it seems to be working.
Yeah, I think one of the things that stands out for me, Brett, from the last conversation that you and I had was the position that the reps play and the role they play in helping keep alive sort of the heart and soul of what the SCA was always supposed to be about. And you guys just don't let everyone raise their hand and say, I want to be a rep. I mean, you really make sure, and I see this myself and the ones I've met, that they fit the culture and they help spread the message in a way that's keeping everything rolling in a very positive way. Does that sound about right?
Yeah. In the restaurants, you can teach the process to anybody, managing a restaurant. There's the systems and procedures for everything, but you can't teach personality. You can't teach caring. I think the people we've chosen they do care. They're passionate about what they do, and they have a great time doing it. So we've been lucky. We haven't always hit on every choice. We're still learning on that, but I think we've done very good on most of our selection of the reps.
Yeah, and it's clear that you guys just don't sit back and function in a reactionary way. You're always kind of looking for ways proactively to make things work better. And that's, I don't have to tell you or anyone else listening who's ever been part of any kind of larger organization, that's probably the biggest downfall for many organizations as they grow, as they sort of they get slow in the way they respond to situations and try to sort of seek to make things always turn out for the best possible sort of solution.
We turned down events at the end of the year last year. We just didn't have enough reps trained to do it. We had some events we just didn't feel we could run right, so we just didn't. We said, maybe next year. We'd rather do that than have too many events and not be able to handle them. We've been training behind the scenes all year, and last year we thought we were ready and just didn't quite have enough. And this year we thought it would stay about the same, and we had about 232 last year events, and this year it's 315 or something right now. So everything we've put in on the training end is going to help that, but we're constantly looking and sourcing new people, and most of them, honestly, if you send me an email and say, hey, I'm going to be your new rep, I haven't met you, I don't know you, I haven't seen, so it's coming as referrals is how we're finding people. And the reps themselves have helped recommend new people as well. So I think it works out that way the best.
Yeah. One of the things, and I know that.
Thanks, Louis.
Yeah. One of the things that you're going to be cool with me saying here, and I say it not thinking that it's going to put you in a weird spot, but there's a hunger for SCA events to happen in as many places as possible. You just addressed that. And one of my good friends, Gary Moss in the Salisbury, North Carolina area, he's hoping to maybe get an SCA event going there with the Tilly's event that's happening. And, the status of reps in North Carolina, for instance, and other areas, like where do you kind of see an opportunity to kind of make more inroads? How does that process kind of unfold, so on and so forth?
Well, this year's our first venture into North Carolina and South Carolina. So I've talked to some new people there, and until then, we're bringing some people in until we can identify the right people and get them trained. But I've talked to one person there in North Carolina. I've got a gentleman in South Carolina that's already done some training. So he's kind of on board. The Northeast is really taken off. We're doing events in Maine this year, Maine, Maryland, New Jersey, New York. Pennsylvania is going to have 5 or 6, I believe, at least. So that area's taken off. I thought I had some people there, and it just didn't work out. So we've got 2 couples already in training, and I've got a 3rd person I need to get back to. So it's just getting them through the process so they're ready, and make sure that, honestly, when they get to the end, they either fit with the culture or they don't, or fit with it. And that's kind of, we just want to make sure we have the right people in place.
Yeah. Hey. Tim Shop right here. 2 new SCA comps in Wisconsin already this year. So you guys are growing, and I think it's important. I mean, it's fair. And Gary, I hope you heard what Brett had to share. And I'll say this real quick. I'm kind of doing aside after an aside, but you can't find a better organization and organizer than Gary Moss there for that event. Once you guys get rolling with him, you're going to be so happy because he just runs such a first-class operation. But to Tim's point, more people coming live here in the Wisconsin area. You guys are making a point to grow, but it's got to be the right fit. You want to make sure that everything goes forward in the best possible way. I had a question about sort of how you guys figure for the number of judges at events. Like, is there can you remind me of what that basic formula is again?
Yeah, we set up 2 tables of judges for every event, up to 30 teams. And once we hit 31, we'll add another set up to 45. So basically a judge is going to taste maximum 7.5 ounces during a 30-minute period usually. Half-ounce bites, about small part of your pinky. 15 bites, that's fair for the judges, fair for the teams. I'd rather have a fresh judge than a full judge. I don't think a full judge is a good judge. Our number used to be 20, and it changed at the end of the year just to make sure we could. We want to be fair to the teams. Yeah,
as someone who I just came off judging the Lakeland Pig Fest here in Lakeland, Florida, and looks like I'll be heading into my hometown here event, Winter Haven, Florida, for an FBA event. And you don't pace yourself at those events. I know when brisket comes around, it's like, oh dear sweet Jesus, please just give us like 3 entries, and no more. But you want to be fair. And again,
absolutely,
your point, you want to make sure that the people who are tasting the steak that's coming forward in front of them aren't washed out and burnt out with flavors and just tired of eating and so on and so forth, to give each team the best possible shot. Let's do well, go ahead, man. Yeah.
With our timelines, we have a 30-minute window. So it's really designed for the judges, that window. And of course, there's gamesmanship, because some guy thinks, man, I'll turn it at the beginning. And then there's other guys, I'm going to wait a little bit and hit the middle. And then there's the guy that sits on the end waiting for the last guy. He's counting everyone, and then he walks up. Yeah. I've seen all 3 guys win, at different times. But what it does is it spaces it out for the judges. So they're getting just a pace of steaks, and they don't sit and get cold. So the judges, steak is pretty forgiving. I mean, when you turn it in and when you eat it, it doesn't expand as much. Brisket, man, that's a monster to judge. I've judged brisket, and that stuff just seems to get bigger every bite in your belly. So, I think we've got a good number for the judges now.
Yeah, it's this is an interesting little factoid here. 7 degrees out 2 weeks ago, and we had 27 teams outside. It's 45 below zero here today, and we have an SCA here in 2 weeks. Oh, man.
Yeah, 45 degrees. I talked to him today, and 45. Wait a minute. I'm sorry. That's 45 below.
Below.
Yeah, it's 45 here in Texas, and we're freezing, man.
Now you're starting to sound like us thin bloods here in Central Florida.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
By the way, your picture, your memes are hilarious, bro. Like salt in Wisconsin versus salt in Texas. And
I caught a little grief over those, man. My dad lives in Michigan, so mainly they're poking at my dad, but I seem to have a couple friends around the country that didn't like it either.
Oh God, that's so funny. Just so I'm always about giving my guests a chance to share the love with sponsors and people that help you do what you do. Looking forward to this year to come. Who are the people who are really going to help SCA get done what it needs to get done from a sponsorship standpoint?
And we've got some of the same guys back from last year. We're real excited to have Ace Hardware on there. They're going to be a great partner. We're actually going to do some events in their stores. Goals to do 25, 30 events with Ace this year. We've got one coming up, man. I didn't memorize the date. It's 2/8. We're doing a class inside the store. It's Cypress Ace in Houston. We've already sold that event out. And not the class, but the cook-off the next day. We've already sold out on February 9th. So that's a great start to the Ace series. We've already got 6 in the books with them. I think it's going to be good. Some of our partners like B&B Charcoal are actually there. B&B is going to be the official charcoal of SCA for the next 3 years. We're excited about that. You know, those guys they're passionate about what they do. They've got some great varieties of charcoal, and I know my garage is starting to be stacked with charcoal, so I'm good, and pellets actually.
I was about to say, I just saw a lot of activity with the post oak pellets that they're coming out with.
Yeah, I can't wait to try those. So B&B's partner again with us this year. We've got Gunter Wilhelm Knives are back this year. He's going to do some events there and give some great trophies away, some of the custom engraved knives. Dripping Springs Vodka is back.
Okay.
We've got a new whiskey sponsor. I know it's not the Purpleback. It's got an awesome Texas-shaped Republic whiskey. Dripping Springs Vodka makes it. You might see a little bit of those floating around events eventually here.
Awesome.
We picked those up in March, but they are some cool-looking bottles. I went to the liquor store and they were sold out, so that's a great sign for me that it's going to be awesome. Can't wait. So we've got them coming. We've got this on there. Of course, Grow Greats. That's the one I missed. I'm going to visit Rec Tech tomorrow.
Okay.
And they see us on some videos from there on Friday. They're announcing some new items. So Rec Tech as well as Grow Greats. We're going to be in Grow Greats on Friday afternoon and evening. Do a Friday night steak night from Brad's patio. So we're going to go up there and support Brad and spend a little time with him. He has been a huge supporter since we were
from the jump.
United Steaks of America.
Yeah.
He supported my dumb shorts and boots cook team Ken and I had, and he supported us then. He still supports us now. And if you don't have Grill Greats, you need them on your grill. They're great. I mean, I have them on every grill I own.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anybody
we're missing?
I think I got them all right now.
Nice. Awesome, man. So you mentioned it in passing, but just so we all have a really solid idea, roughly what's the number of events planned coming forward for 2019?
I think right now we're at about 315.
Is that all across the globe, or?
Yeah, that's around the world. That's
okay.
I think it's 13 countries at the moment. We just added Budapest, Hungary. Whoever thought you'd have a steak cook-off in Hungary?
Nice.
But we do. So we're excited about that. In the States, we've added Oregon, we've added Maine, we had Maryland before, I think. Maryland's on there. North Carolina, South Carolina, we added another one in Kentucky. Oh, man, they're all over. But it's just neat to watch it grow into areas that we're not. And most of the growth this year isn't in Florida, although we've added new events. We've got 2 there in the next 2 weeks. We've got St. John's and Apopka are running SCA events. But most of the growth is in these new markets. Wisconsin is going to be big this year. What's that, Tim? Wisconsin should have 10. Wow.
Tim's fired up tonight. He's ready.
Oh, that's great. Hey,
he's loving it.
He is the promoter of these 2 first events in Wisconsin up there this year. So they did a great job with that first one, and the second one, hopefully it's a little warmer. But if not, they've got antifreeze, I'm sure.
Yeah. Awesome.
So, it's good. It's growing.
Okay, so getting back a little bit into nuts and bolts, and I know your time is valuable, and I don't want to be here too terribly much longer with you, but Ted Keller has a question regarding scoring. So basically, can you break it down? How has scoring worked? For new people who are just getting their feet wet in SCA, so on and so forth.
Yeah, great question. Nice truck in the background too, buddy. Scoring is done on 5 criteria. It's taste, texture, appearance, doneness, and overall impression. Doneness is done to a scale. It's a picture we have that you'll see it all over our group page there, and probably on the other page. We have one sitting in front of every judge, and it's just a sliding scale based on color. Appearance. You look at the steak first. That's 10 points per judge. The doneness is another 10 points per judge. 10 being the highest, 5 the lowest. You've got texture. That's Do they enjoy the texture? That could be widely different from me to you. We both have our own textural preferences on things. One thing we have done that we have noticed has improved the texture scores this year. We're now allowing them. It used to be in the past when you turned it in, we would turn the spinalis, which is the lip of the steak, the kind of the bottom of the teardrop, the larger part. We would place that towards the front of the box. I'm looking to see if I have a picture over there. Is there a picture there, Pam? So that part of the steak will be placed in the front of the box. The circle would be awesome. Thank you. Perfect. This is a good visual. And I think this will help a lot of teams because we just got off the phone with a guy earlier, Ken did.
Awesome.
So if this is your steak, correct? This is your turn-in box. Now the procedure is when you put it in the box, you put it in the way you want the reps to cut it. If this is the front of the box down here, can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Then place the steak however you want the judges to cut it, and they're going to cut it in half, left to right with the back of the hinge.
Okay.
So that gives us 50% for appearance, appearance and doneness is on the top. The bottom is where the judges will actually cut their slices off. What this has changed is this allows you, if your spinalis runs around this line, you can turn it to where that's towards the front. Now, if you put it this way, that's how we're going to judge it. You put it this way, that's how we will judge it.
Wow.
The only way, that's how we'll cut it. The only way we will touch your steak is if you put it upside down for some reason, and it's the tail of the steak in the front of the box.
Okay.
So that's the only time we're going to touch the steak.
And then what will you do? What will you do to it if that happens? How does it get turned?
If it's backwards in the box and this is the front, we're going to turn it to where the tail is in the back.
Okay.
Turn the back. We're not going to position it in any favorable position. It'll just be turned around in the box. So when I competed, man, I always put it in a certain way. I wanted to make sure the judges got it a certain way. This allows it to remain in the cooker's hands this year.
That's huge.
Decide how it goes in the box. And we've done it on 3 events, well, more events than that now, and the feedback's been great. It's really a matter of just making sure everyone knows. We've sent an email to everybody. We've talked about it. I've mentioned it at Cook's meetings. We've just made some of these up for different reps. They'll have these at meetings to just show them, hey, just put it in the box the way you want the judges to cut it. If it's like this, it'll cut it that way. It's going to be cut straight across. The reason it's half instead of 2/3, man, it never failed. Down here, there's a lot of more connective tissue. If your spinalis sometimes may be larger, or if they trim it smaller, we're running into problems with hitting it. Sometimes those tri-hearts or the first 3 on the chuck end of the ribeye loin would fall on that line, and we'd have to go higher or lower. So this makes it very consistent for every rep out there. We'll be able to cut it the same. And really, it's up to the teams now how they put it in the box. So I think that's a big change that'll help. And I've noticed an increase in texture scores since we've done it. The other 2 categories, taste, you know what we like. You know what you like. Some steaks, some people like sweet, some like heat, some are, kind of salt, pepper, some are wild 10 spices. So they're all a little different. Mm-hmm. And then overall impression, that's that judge's experience with that steak. Now that you judge those 4 criteria, how do you feel about the steak? Usually that just falls right in line, with the other scores. But with 5 judges, each judge gets a score. So if you've probably got 48s on the top there, well, unless you got a perfect score in each category, you can get done a point here or there on the bottom, and that may look a little different. But that's their overall impression of the steak. There's different things that affect that. It could be an aftertaste. It could be it tasted even better and the score's higher. So there's a lot of things that go in those, but those 5 criteria, taste has a little kicker on it. So it's 10.9 is the highest on taste. It's the only one. All the others go to 10. Taste will go to 10.9. And it really makes a difference. That could be the difference in winning the steak cook-off and not winning, because we had those scores together, and I think the shed was won by 0.8 or something like that this week. But that's a decimal. That's one little, one judge's decimal on there makes a difference. So that decimal is real important to our process.
Cool. Yeah.
And I hope that helped your explanation.
Yeah, Tad, hopefully that'll help you, man. Again, ask and you shall receive. I've never seen Brett shy away from a technical question. And to that end, Sandy McBride actually, she chimed in a little bit on the late side. She's like, sorry, I just got on. Let's see what's going on here. Anything you can share about having an SCA competition in general? How many teams to break even? Any info on first-time hosts in Tulsa, Oklahoma?
Let me tell you, if you're in Tulsa, you'll make money. Every event in Tulsa is done well. Trip Haggard was he was one of the godfathers of steak cook-offs. Man, I respect tremendously and helped me get SCA started even. I remember sitting in his living room at his son's house. It was after an event. And we went over there and he said, man, I got this idea, Brett. What if we did more of these? And just kind of, I said, well, let me show you something. And I pulled out my phone and I showed him the SCA logo I had designed. And I said, well, this is what I'm working on. And he said, whatever you need to know, I'll tell you. So he actually gave us their entire process. So we could kind of evaluate some things. And man, he helped us a lot. As far as running an event there, we have a sanctioning fee. Everything's listed on the promoters pack of the website. Really, it depends in your area. You probably need about 24 teams. That's probably your magic number. It's real important when you run an SCA event, those local guys, there's guys that are going to travel to these events. We help promote your event, but it is your event. We're the ticket master of cook-offs. We sell entry fees to your event. We help collect the money for you, and we run the judging, but it's ultimately your event. So, you hit that magic number and you're good after that. And there's other ways to having an event that you can supplement as well. And we give those ideas in the promoters pack as well. So I hope that helps a little bit, Sandy. If you have any questions, just call me. My number's on the website.
Awesome. And to that end, just something popped into my head, and you may, again, cover this in the promotional promoters pack that you mentioned, but just from your standpoint, someone who's trying to get a new SCA event up and running, and then they're at the point where they're looking to maybe procure the steaks for the event and approaching maybe a local provider, so on and so forth. I don't know. Can you give me kind of your viewpoint on how they should best maybe go about that process?
Yeah, we've made a conscious effort not to have a set provider for SCA events. We have events like the one in Shreveport downtown, 4th of July. They get 300 steaks donated by Berkshire's that sponsors the event. So if we were to have one provider for events, it would hurt that promoter. So what we do is, we encourage them to use a local butcher, which helps support butchers. Man, we don't have enough butchers in this country. That's a lost art. So we like to keep the money in the community.
We got Kevin Green.
There you go. You got the knife guy down there that'll makes wicked knives, sharp knives too. What's the knife guy? You know who I'm talking about.
I'm spacing. You put me on the spot. Now I'm flaking. Back to you, Brett.
You'll know later. So anyway, you're better. We want to keep the money in those communities. So finding the local grocery store that's looking to promote their product, the local butcher, and on ancillaries, if you're in Johnson, Tennessee, they got Johnsonville plant right there. So Johnsonville donates the sausage for the teams to compete with, and how creative can they be with Johnsonville sausage? So, all around your area, there's local people that are looking for opportunities to help promote their business. And that's to us is the important way to decide who provides the steaks right now.
So definitely coming at them with the idea that, look, this is the chance for a win-win opportunity, get people more familiar with what you're doing, goodwill, the community, that kind of thing. Okay. All right. Yeah. As Sandy responded back real quick, they said she competed at, Seagie's? Yeah. Bill Bond, his personal friend. Trip was amazing, as you've stated. We got quite a few names that we can draw. Cosmos Mullins, P.S. Say hey to the Barretts. Any advantage of going upscale with Wagyu on the steak side of things? That's an interesting question.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, Bill Bond's a good friend of ours. And if you know Bill, I won't hold it against you. He is a great guy. His whole family competes. The wife, Bill does, his wife does, the son does. So it's great to see the whole family out there. But the Barretts, I'll say hi to Brad and Susan for you. They've become family for us, and they're actually part of the Sun, I'm going to butcher the name, the SSS, Sun, Sand, and Steaks. They're running the event in the Bahamas. So our SCA event is part with them. So we're thankful to be part of that event. And any upscale or anything Yeah, we did one event in Kansas City. They did Wagyu beef. It sold out pretty quick. It sold out quicker than others. I know it was our first event in Kansas City, which is going to be another big market for us.
Sure.
Golly, I think we've got 1, 2, 3 in one weekend in Kansas City, 2 at the BBQA conference, and then 1 on that Sunday. And I think I've got 2 others booked. So we should have 5 in Kansas City this year, which is great. And then the other event that has the Wagyu, we have one coming up in Central Texas. It hasn't been released yet, but it's going to be a special challenge. We've never done one. They are going to do Wagyu New York strips. So it'll be very interesting. They're going to do a little Wagyu education beforehand, kind of explain how the fat renders a little bit differently in these steaks. But they're going to do it as a 2-round event. So you'll cook 1 round and then come back for the second. And I said, well, the reason we stopped those is steak costs. They're like, they're getting Wagyu ribeyes for both events. So
wow.
I don't know what those steaks cost, but the cooks are in for a treat. I wouldn't cook that second one. I'd take it home and cook it at the house. I bet you your entry fee is going to be less than the cost of those steaks.
Yeah, guaranteed.
So I think that is kind of a drawing card cost. If you can get them donated, then hey, better yet. It's just a matter of finding the right company to help.
Well, pretty much an automatic, quick fill up on the sign up list. If that's something you put in your sign up promotional material, by the way, we're going to be cooking Wagyu steaks. I mean, that's like ringing the dinner bell like times 100. Now I think if I recall correctly, Mike McLeod mentioned that the finalists for this upcoming year's World Food Championships in the steak category may in fact be cooking Wagyu, those top 10 finishers in the steak category.
Well, one day I'll learn how to pronounce that word properly, because I pronounced it wrong about 7 times in a row. So I'll get that right. But as to the World Food, I have heard that as well. I don't know if I haven't got it from the horse's mouth per se. He was actually supposed to be in my office this afternoon and his flight got delayed.
Oh, no.
Which leads us to the next one. SCA will be partnering with World Food again this year. We will be the qualifiers for the steak division. We just gave away 2 tickets down in Ocean Springs at the Shed. I don't have all the details. We're going to hammer out the small stuff today, but stay tuned. We'll do an announcement on our Facebook page. We'll send an email out, and I don't want to give it all out, but I've heard there is going to be a cap on it. It'll be a hard cap on it, and then there will be teams in last year and this year that are going to get to qualify for it. And I guess that's all I can say until I get the final word from Mike. But
sure,
I think it's going to be neat. It's in Dallas, so our membership started down this way, so we've got a lot of teams down. Texas, sure. Oklahoma, Louisiana, Florida. So I think it's going to be a big event. We're proud to be part of it. Again, we appreciate the opportunity that Mike's given us to be part of it.
Yeah, I mean, it just seemed like everything went so great last year, and from the people I talked to about the event and how everything rolled out, they were all very happy. So real quick, one of the things that Joey Machado had to ask, did you already talk about the new age limit?
I have not. We did talk about B&B being the official charcoal of the steak cook-off.
Yeah, thanks, Joey.
Right there. But yeah, we did. That was another change this year, and it's good that he brought it up. Our new age is 16 to cook in SCA. In Texas, we used to have this UIL rule that if a child won money, it could lose college scholarships. I know what those scholarships are worth. So if we would have caused somebody to lose that, it would, that would not have been good. So the new age is 16 to compete in SCA as your own team. If your parent or someone on your team is the head cook, people can help you cook that, which is what Joey did last year with, not Joey, Ty did with Joey. Ty cooked them steaks. Joey was the head cook. This year, it's Ty's team. Ty's cooking. I think Joey's actually cooking as well. He cooked last weekend. So, we're excited. I think Joey's competing next week. And gosh, what did Joey win did he not win his category the first day at World Food? Or did he get second? trying to remember. Anyway, the young man did great at World Food. I mean, he was a boy among men, and he became a man that day and kind of forced the rules to change a bit. You know, the kid can cook. There's other kids in SCA that can cook.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can compete at Memphis in May and win wild game at Memphis in May, well, I hate to admit what I got there, but man, I didn't get first. Let's say that. That kid can cook. There's other kids in SCA that are cooking as well, doing great.
The Steak Princess, right?
Yeah, Steak Princess cooks with her mom. You know, that little girl I think she gets more calls than her dad, which, man, he actually won his day at World Food. But
remind us again, her name escapes me real quick.
Riley, I believe.
Riley, that's right.
Riley. I don't know. I just call her Steak Princess. So I'm not sure.
That's right. She is something. I actually had a chance to speak with the family there briefly in Orange Beach. Super, super nice people. I mean, and I love where this is all kind of going. I mean, we have a situation where, again, it's family, right? It's not just the SCA family. It's actual families growing up and enjoying this process.
My kids grew up going to steak cook-offs and barbecue cook-offs, more so the barbecue because we had a couple guys from church started the steak team together in Ken, and so we pretty much traveled to those because there weren't many. You had to go a long distance. But my kids grew up going to barbecue cook-offs, and Dad would go to sleep, or and the kids were out there talking to people, talking to their friends, and I go to an event now, and people are like, "Where's Butter? Where's Bailey?" Everyone knows Butter, my son. Little 6'4", 300-pound Butter.
I was about to say, you started with little. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah, it's all you got 3 generations out there cooking together sometimes, and husband and wife cooking. So we couldn't ask for more than that. We haven't put it in the rules, but there's no Xboxes at SCA events. Maybe one day we'll put it in there, but we don't need it right now. So
yeah, that's the cool thing is that you haven't even had to put those caveats in there because the young people who are sort of coming to these events and spending time and seeing what's happening is it's so cool. I mean, and again, down here, my buddy Rob Dopp, we are starting that with our son. Hope he continues with it. It's good stuff, man. It's awesome. Yeah.
Well,
so now go ahead.
I didn't mention yet, but we also have a series coming to Central Texas with B&B Charcoal. So we've got 13 events down that way, which is a new market for us as well. We've only had a few events that way, but 13 of them. There'll be the B&B South Texas series.
All right. Now, is that a series within the SCA itself, like a sort of a separate sort of cup series, if you will?
Yeah, that's a series within our series. It's still part of the points chase, but
yeah,
they're sponsoring the series, and they're going to have kids cook-offs at all those events. It's going to be neat. We couldn't have guessed how this year would go from last year, but glad it has. And gosh, it's January. Hard to believe.
Yeah. Well, listen, Brett, thank you so much for hanging out. I've been fortunate enough to get to know you very well over the last year or so, and it's a pleasure. Love what you guys are doing. You can always look to me to help spread the word about what you guys are doing. It's an honor to kind of have good people circulating within my little bubble. So I thank you for that, man.
Well, I appreciate the time, and thanks for the opportunity to come on here. And I hope some of these people get to come out to an SCA event soon. Bring your wife, bring your kids, come out, cook a steak, win $1,000.
Yeah, awesome. Guys, look, again, hopefully, you enjoyed the conversation here. This will obviously be posted for sharing out later. I'll try to go ahead and figure this into a podcast episode as well as I've done with past Facebook Live events. But that's it. And Brett, man, have a good night and the best to you and the family there, and get some sleep, man, because you've been running.
Oh, man, it's fun. I wouldn't have it any other way.
I know you wouldn't. All right, listen, good night, all right?
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it.
All right, bye, guys.